Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're setting out on a very specific mission. As your guide and grammar coach, my absolute goal is to help you transform your standard everyday writing into master-level prose. And the secret weapon we're going to use to do it? Adverbs. So let's level up.
Think back to your earliest English classes. If I asked you right now, do adverbs only modify verbs? You might be tempted to say yes. We're traditionally taught that adverbs just describe actions. Run quickly, speak softly. But I really want to challenge that basic assumption right out of the gate. Because at an advanced level, adverbs stop being just simple descriptive words, and they become this massive, powerful toolkit that can completely restructure how you communicate complex ideas.
So, here's our structured curriculum for today. We're going to extract 3 specific power moves. First, connecting ideas. Second, expressing attitude. And third, the drama of inversion.
Okay, let's dive into this with Section 1, Connecting Ideas, specifically focusing on conjunctive adverbs. I want you to think of this first tool as basically a heavy-duty bridge for your thoughts. A conjunctive adverb is a very specific type of word that doesn't just modify a single verb. Instead, it connects 2 completely independent clauses. It links entire, standalone ideas together in a way that shows the reader exactly how those ideas relate to one another. This could be showing cause and effect, the sequence of events, a sharp contrast, or simply adding more information to a preceding thought.
Here's a quick cheat sheet for your writing tool belt. These are some of the most common conjunctive adverbs you'll encounter. However, therefore, moreover, nevertheless, and consequently. Listen, if you aren't using these regularly, you are leaving major communicative power on the table. Start sprinkling these into your emails, your essays, or your reports, and just watch the sophistication of your writing instantly elevate.
Now, I'm actually going to deliberately slow our pace down right here for a second because the mechanics of using these adverbs are extremely specific. When you're connecting 2 independent clauses, you must use this rigid 3-step punctuation formula. You absolutely cannot skip this. Step 1, you place a semicolon at the very end of your first independent clause. Step 2, you insert your chosen conjunctive adverb. And step 3, you immediately follow that adverb with a comma before beginning your second independent clause. So it's semicolon, adverb, comma.
Let's take a look at our first example and see exactly how this builds out. It rained heavily, therefore, the game was canceled. Try to visually reinforce those punctuation steps in your mind right now. We have 2 complete thoughts. It rained heavily, and the game was canceled. We bridge them with therefore to show cause and effect, and right there, hugging the adverb, is our semicolon on the left and our comma on the right.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how the exact same super rigid punctuation steps work perfectly to establish a totally different relationship, contrast. He studied all night, however, he still failed the test. It's the exact same mechanics, semicolon, however, comma. But we've instantly signaled to the reader that a surprising or contradictory outcome has occurred. It's just incredibly efficient.
All right, let's speed our pace back up a bit as we transition right into Section 2, Expressing Attitude Utilizing Sentence Adverbs.
If that last section was a bridge, you can kind of think of this tool as the megaphone of your grammar toolkit. With sentence adverbs, we're no longer just connecting ideas. We're stepping out in front of the information to explicitly inject our own personal attitude into the entire statement. These are modifiers that apply to the whole sentence, not just one single word. Mechanically, they're usually placed right at the beginning of the sentence and are immediately followed by a comma, framing absolutely everything that comes after them through a specific emotional or analytical lens.
Frankly, I don't think this plan will work. Notice the bold, dramatic energy of that statement? The word frankly sits right at the front door of the sentence, and it colors absolutely everything that follows it. You aren't just stating a belief about a plan, you are announcing your blunt, unvarnished honesty before you even deliver the bad news. And this brilliantly illustrates how simple upfront adverbs completely change the emotional takeaway of factual statements. A study showing the opposite result is just dry data, right? But by adding interestingly, you act as a guide, telling the reader to lean in and share your curiosity. An accident where no one is injured is a fact, but starting with fortunately instantly injects relief and gratitude to the message. You're literally leading the reader's emotions with a single word.
Which brings us to our final and honestly most high-energy section. Section 3, the drama of inversion, specifically focusing on negative inversion.
If you are looking for the ultimate power move used for dramatic effect or highly formal writing, this is it, for sure.
To set the stage for this grammatical magic trick we're about to learn, I need to share this specific list of restrictive and negative adverbs. We're talking about words like never, rarely, seldom, hardly, scarcely, and phrases like no sooner. When native speakers really want to sound highly authoritative, formal, or deeply dramatic, they deploy these specific words to literally flip the structure of a sentence upside down.
So, here is the rule behind the magic. Negative inversion happens when you intentionally place one of those negative adverbs at the very beginning of a sentence. When you do this, a structural swap is forced to happen. The subject of the sentence and the auxiliary verb absolutely must trade places. It is a strict inversion.
Let's visually isolate this swap so you can see it in action. Our standard sentence is, I have never seen such a beautiful sunset. Perfectly fine, but maybe a little plain. Now, let's invert it by pulling that negative adverb right to the front. The standard I have never instantly transforms into never have I. Never have I seen such a beautiful sunset. Just listen to how poetic and dramatic that sounds. The subject I and the auxiliary have literally swapped places to accommodate the adverb at the front.
So, the crucial point is what happens when you literally don't have an obvious auxiliary verb just sitting there waiting to be swapped. Take this standard sentence, for example. She rarely speaks during meetings. There's no have or is here. So to invert it, we sometimes have to magically add the auxiliary word does to make the inversion function properly. Rarely does she speak during meetings. It instantly elevates the sentence from a casual observation to a formal, almost theatrical declaration.
Rarely do we see such easy ways to upgrade our writing. You see what I did there? We just used a negative inversion right in our own conclusion. By mastering conjunctive adverbs to bridge your ideas, sentence adverbs to inject your attitude, and negative inversion to create formal drama, you now possess a truly advanced toolkit. The only question left is, how will you use them? Take these tools, apply them to your next piece of writing, and watch your language totally level up. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.